Family, friends, fans, residents of Frackville area. I am Paul Clevis, President of the Frackville Downtown Revitalization Committee. I just wanted to go over the program real quickly. I'm your master of ceremonies here, and right after me, I'm going to introduce a fellow, Ed, who's a music historian. He'll give the history of the Jordan Brothers. After that, I'll introduce the brothers to you. They'll introduce their families to you all. And of course, next is Max Furyk, and he is the author of the Jordan Brothers, the musical biography of the rock and roll Fortunate Sons. Next will be Kim Phillips, who will do the proclamation. And then after that, I have a letter that was given to me today. I want to read that. Then after that, we'll do the unveiling of the plaque. After that, then we'll all go around the side of this building to the auditorium, where we'll have refreshments, and then we can do more socializing there. And then while we're eating our dessert, we have Max, who will be doing a presentation on his computer. He'll have there'll be a screen there. He'll do a presentation. But okay, basically, the Jordan Brothers, their musical career began in October of 1954. I believe it may have been the eve of Halloween, 1954. Elvis Presley started his musical career in 1954 also. I wanted to show you how this coincidence all transpires here, or how it all comes together. In 1986, the Schuylkill County Commissioners proclaimed October as Jordan Brother Month. Today, October 9th, 2010, we will dedicate this bronze tribute plaque for the musical achievement. 56 years later, Frackville still remembers, and we still enjoy their music. At this time, I'd like to introduce Eddie Collins, who will give you the basic history of the Jordan Brothers. All right, Eddie. Eddie. You guys still look as good as you got here.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is a great pleasure. It's a great honor. People from Schuylkill County, Hamburg, and afar. Let's have a big hand for the Jordan Brothers, everyone. Today we honor four gentlemen who decided to make music together for the first time on a Halloween night back in 1954 and embarked on a musical journey that lasted some 32 years. We salute the Jordan Brothers. As a local musician, radio personality, and music historian, it's been my privilege to have been associated with Frank, Bob, and Joe, and Louie for many, many years. The Jordan Brothers were Schuylkill County's first rock and roll act to compose their material, record, and attain success on a national level. Now, in addition to the concert tours with Frank and my brother Alan Freed and Dick Clark, there were numerous television appearances and recordings that were only released in the United States. Imagine this. They were also released in Canada, Mexico, and England. Do you guys know that? So you're educated, right? The Jordan Brothers, ladies and gentlemen, they were innovators and they were trendsetters with music and fashion. They took us through the changes of the 1960s, Teen Idol, the British invasion and the psychedelic eras, onto the hard rock and the disco 70s. Now, they also took us into the new wave sounds of the 80s before saying, let's call it a day, right? The Jordans were always one step ahead. They set the stage for the other local musicians, such as myself, and they showed that if you were from the coal region, you had the opportunity to succeed. Now, in an era long before MTV, MP3s, iPods, CDs, cassettes, and 8-track tapes, mind you, the brothers Jordan were armed with a stack of the things with the holes in them? 45s, that's right. A 45 player, and a brand new medium called television. Now, they would sit and they would listen to people like Chuck Berry, Elvis Presley, Bill Haley in the comments, the Everly Brothers. They would study their vocal inflections, the musicianship, and they would also watch how they walked and talked. This all summed up one key element called professionalism. And that's what the Jordan Brothers' secret formula is. They were the first cover band. They built their music repertoire from those weekly top 40 charts of AM radio. And the Jordan Brothers would come back and they would educate us on those tours with Dick Clark and Alan Freed. They learned different songs with different artists that they would watch and study and say, boy, these are great songs. We're going to come back and learn them. Songs like Come Back, Jimmy Clanton. Letter from Sherry. You guys remember that at Willow Lake? Lakeside? The award? Rumble. And Heart by Harrisburg's Kenny Chandler, which ironically was the song to become mostly identified with the Jordan Brothers. Now, even with the degree of notoriety they received, they never forgot who they were, where they hailed from. Where? Frackville, PA! And they remained true to the legion of the fans right here in the native area. Now, matter of fact, in 1966, they were on a taping of the discophonic scene, if a lot of people remember watching Jerry Blabbett, the Heater with the Heater, the boss, the hot sauce, right? Well, Jerry had him on his show, and on the particular show was Hank Ballard, the Shangri-Las, and Roy Head. And Frank Jordan singing live. Imagine that. When everybody's lip syncing, Frank singing live, Kansas City, the Wilbert Harrison song, and starts blurting out, Motto City, here I come. And he was paying homage to his great local area right here. At the height of Jordan Mania in 1966, the possibility of fame and fortune appeared when the band was signed to Phillips Records. And what was the name of the song? That's right. It was found by producers Billy Carl and Joe Vanieri, who were on a road trip to England, and that would change the lives of Frank, Joe, and Louie and Bob. The song Give Me Some Lovin' was recorded only as a demo version by the Spencer Davis Group. The song, the way that you heard it on the radio was not the way it was originally recorded. The Jordan Brothers recorded it the original way that Spencer Davis recorded it. So what had basically happened, that unforeseen, was the competition of both of those records going up the charts at the same time, and they were played by the radio programmers, and the possibility of a hit record for the Jordans now was being measured by the record company's willingness to let them go out and promote the song. So with an ultimatum given, what happened was the only way for this record to survive was going on a nationwide tour. But to do so, all the local and the regional appearances, like we would see them at Willow Lake, 83 Rollorama, Lakeside Ballroom, that was all gone. No more Jordan Brothers. So the Jordan Brothers now faced a challenge. And that was their livelihood, the weekly engagements, as we mentioned, at Willow Lake and everywhere else, the other dances, and that being coupled with the possibility of leaving families for a long time. There was two roads for the Jordans to take, but only one could be taken. Now, with a strong commitment to the family, friends, and fans of this area, Frank, Joe, Louie, and Bob opted not to tour. And that's just one example of their undisputed bond of loyalty to Schuylkill County, of course. Now, I remember the first time that we all have memories of the first time meeting the Jordan Brothers, right? Okay, for me it was 1971. I was a young man of 14. And I watched them open up for B.J. Thomas at the Allentown Fair. Matter of fact, I'll take it one step further. This is a poster from the show that I was at. I just got this poster, matter of fact, about 2 years ago. Bless his heart up in rock and roll heaven. Slick Johnny Greenaway, a member of my band, the Rocket 88s, had given to me this before he passed away. Now, at that show was very momentous because I was a young lad of 14. How did I get to that show? An uncle of mine, Father Jim Trucker, who was a rock and roll disc jockey at many local stations here in the area, and at WAVZ in New Haven, Connecticut also. Father Jim worked at WRAW in Reading. They had a big contest about getting there to see B.J. Thomas, the Jordan Brothers, and Custer's Last Band on that show. So that was the first time I saw the Jordan Brothers. The next time, I was watching TV. It was 1973. A show called Summertime at the Pier. Ed Hurst was interviewed.
Yeah.
And then finally, in 1974, I met the Jordan Brothers in a dimly lit place called Willow Lake. They were larger than life. They had hair down to the waist. And the song they were playing, LaGrange, by a new group called ZZ Top. Yes, indeed, folks, it was a sign of the times. Yes, it was. Now, during the 1980s, the Jordan brothers and I became very good friends over the years, and mainly in the 80s, we were involved in a lot of projects together. And in 1984, I was honored to be the main contributor for Max Furick's book. Max is going to come up here and discuss the great book, The Fortunate Sons of Rock and Roll, the Jordan brothers. So Max will be up and talking about that. And most finally, I had the distinct pleasure to play along with this gentleman right here, Mr. Louis Jordan, with my group Fat Robbie and the Rocket 88s. In closing, ladies and gentlemen, the success of the Jordan brothers can be measured by the foresight and the guiding hands of their parents, Adele and Angelo. Yes. They were always a family first. Secondly, entertainers who were immensely talented, very charismatic, and holding high regard for the people in this region. Today's presentation of a plaque to honor them now formally recognizes the legacy of Frackville, Pennsylvania's most fortunate sons of rock and roll, the Jordan brothers.
From my heart, I now give you Lou, Frank, and Joe.
Being the oldest one, I'll take the first crack at this. You know, I'd like to start. I went to grade school in the Lincoln Building, and I graduated from this building to Washington. And in 1958, I had no idea, the wildest dreams, that this would be happening to myself and my brothers. I want to thank you all very much from the bottom of my heart. You know, this dedication was scheduled to be in August, and they didn't have the plaque ready. So what they did was, we do this again sometime in September. Well, September rolled by, and then they said, we'll do it October 8th. Something came up, they couldn't do it then. Then they said they'll do it October 10th. Ron, my nephew, he's a coach of a midget football team, and he has a game. So they settled on the 9th, and ironically, this is the anniversary of my brother Bob's passing. So I think it's really significant. Bobby said, I'm going to be a part of this one way or another. And I'd like to mention my family is there, my beautiful best friend, soulmate, my wife Becky. I got a little misty here. I have 4 children here, Angelo, Joey, Vicky, and Gina, and all of their children. I have 13 grandchildren. I want one of them to break that 13, but nobody wants to do it. Well, I just want to say thank you, and from the bottom of my heart, I'm really honored and humbled by this, and I know my brothers are. God bless all of you, and thank you, Frackville. Frackvillians! Frackvillians!
A lot of different things have been going through my mind, and I don't really have a speech ready, you know, but I'm going to wing it here and go back to my grandpa. I think you'll find this interesting. My grandpa came from the old country, and he settled right here in Frackville. After he had kids, one of them was Angelo, my father. So my dad was born and raised in Frackville. So then my dad had us, right? And where we come from? Born and raised in Frackville. So then there's another generation, our nieces and nephews and children, you know, they all had kids. I don't know if it's 19 or 18 grandchildren we gave my mom and dad, I don't know, but there was another generation born and raised in Frackville. And darn if there isn't a couple more people from family from Frackville that are still born and raised here. So you can tell our family did love it here, and we still enjoy our homes here, you know. So didn't want to make that little story. I thought it was interesting. And also, of course, I want to thank my wife. I'd like to see her face. There she is. I love her. just a quick thing. When she went around down at 80th Rollorama, she came up around the left side of the stage. That was it. She smiled at me, and I was hers forever, every moment. She was mine forever, every moment. That's about 48 years ago. I had 4 kids in the world, so I had Kelly, Chrissy, Louie, and Sean, and I'm looking at them right now, and it's beautiful. I see you, Shelley. They're beautiful children, and they were very easy to raise. It was just, it was almost like, I can't explain it, the way my children came up. I used to say they were made of good stock. Because we couldn't figure why everything always worked for them. They really got along, and they still do this very day. And I'd like especially to thank Kelly and Mark for making this, for being us, so we could put this CD out. And they had the 33 1/3 record, and they had it shrunk down in the studio to a CD, and they actually gave me a gold CD. I was shocked, but then the idea came between me and my brothers that, hey, we can put this out, you know? So if I'm not wrong, Frank did the first phone calls, and then it ended up everybody was trying to get it done, so we got it done, and it's still going. People are going to buy some today, I hope. So, Jesus, Sir Paul Clevis, Eddie Collins was just up here, you know, and walking in the audience, seeing everybody. I remember everybody's face. I always said that. Some names, I even got some of the names right, you know. I'm 63, it's going. So anyway, again, there's got to be a lot more to say, but I don't think I should hog the show. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming. Thank you.
And he was worried about what he was going to say. Worst part of the whole thing, I got to follow that now. Awesome, just awesome. This day is just too much for me to handle in my mind. I try to say to myself, Frank, you know, just try to be cool. And it's hard, it's very hard. It's nice to see everybody here, especially since it is my father's wish that we would have a lot of grandchildren. We have more of my relatives here than we do the people from around. And I'm very happy about that, and I'm sure it'll please my father. And I know he's looking down on and all of us. Thank you so much for being here. And I just can't help but thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, because I know without him, I wouldn't be here. And without him, we would have never got together at those great dances and enjoyed ourselves here every day. I'm sure you agree. It got into the commercial of things, and everybody went, that's the great band, and that. But I think you could agree with me, we were family. It wasn't a band, who's good and who's not, and battle of the band thing. It was, we were all one family. We got together, and for one reason only, girls. Oh. I'm sorry. To have a good time. Am I right? It was to have a good time. As I look around, I see so many familiar faces, and John Hardock, my God, it's good to see you. All you people, Jim Drucker, came over to my radio station when I was a general manager, had my own show, and he brought in a record, JD Americans, I think it was, She Cried. How many people remember that record? Great record. And we talked about that. He also brought the album over, and I never had it at that time, but since I started collecting those cruising albums that are out, and I taped it if I remember, but Dick Biondi was doing his show in Reading, PA with Connie Francis, Freddie Boom Boom Cannon, and a lot of VIPs, and we were mentioned right on that album. And that was one of my pride and joys, that album. So I finally collected, I got a hold of one right now. So I'm very happy about that. There are so many people to thank. It's just, if I miss anybody, it's only because I can't get it all out. But there were big icons that should be thanked. Dick Clark, who took a personal interest in our group. And unfortunately, because of business things, it never evolved into anything. Jerry Blavin. And, you know, you mentioned Eddie about being on the show when he moved up to WCAU TV on City Line Avenue. Joe and you'll attest for this. We did a show with Hank Ballard, and Hank's van broke down, their Cadillac, and they didn't have a band. And Jerry came up and he said, "Would you guys back them?" Would we back them? Hank Ballard. I don't know if you know it, Hank Ballard wrote The Twist that Chubby Checker went on with great fame. But Hank Ballard wrote it and put it on the B-side of a record, never got any recognition, but ended up a moneymaker for him. But we did it, and you remember Finger Poppin' Time, we did Behind Them, and all those great records. We're back there backing up Hank Ballard, man. It was awesome. And there's so many memories that are going and shooting through my mind. I wish I could share it with each and every one of you because there are a lot of them. But I do want to thank my good friend Max Fierk for coming out and taking the initiative to write a story and a book, a discography form. But thank you so much, Max. And Max will be up here to talk more. And he has a slideshow he's going to present later on in the gymnasium. I'm sure you're going to like to see. Local things here in town, though. I'll never forget a guy named Joe Anthony. They used to have Anthony's Supermarket down here. How many people remember Anthony? Joe Anthony comes to my mind, a great musician in his own right, along with Tony Carpy. And these are the guys that we looked up to as we were just little kids. I have to give them recognition, along with the Mansion 4. These are older guys, icons in their own right. But I'll never forget Joe Anthony. I'd walk into Anthony's store, and the first thing he'd say, "How you doing, cat?" And it just filled me up. I was only a little toddler, but yeah, I'm a cat, man. So I thank these people for these great memories, and I can go on and on and on. Fractal, you've been good to me, good to my brothers. We just can't thank you enough. To our relatives that are here, thank you all very much for being here. It's just an honor to have you here. And I could look at Lowell Kaufman over there. We booked us down in the area down in Bethel area, and a couple of those great dances down there. And I can't thank him enough. All you people who booked the band, and I was booking agent at the time. And I'll never forget working the Burnville Fire Company down there. We got up on the second floor. Don't forget, my dad started us in this business. We were in the coal business, and we were scooping coal from dirt, just to make briquettes out of. You put them in your little grill there when you're cooking out. And we'd be scooping to the ground, because there was no front-end loaders back in those days. You remember. Nothing to make it easy, from the ground up and right into the truck. And then we deliver coal. And I just remember the pain in my back. It was like a knife sticking in there after we get done a day. And I said to my dad, "Boy, Dad, there's got to be a better way." He said, "I got the way. Get that sax and keep playing it. I'll show you." Little did he know that in the 70s, bands started bringing along more darn equipment. You'd be rather shuffling that dirt up into the truck. Because and we took a B3 organ, we gutted it. Didn't mean a thing, though. We took about 30 pounds out of it. I think the thing weighed about 2,000. And then we carried the Leslie up fire escapes to get up the 3rd and 4th floor to get into a place to play. It was a job. It was work. But we did it, and I'm so proud of these guys. I think that's why we're here today. We just kept on enduring and enduring. I don't want to go on too much, but boy, all the things in my mind and thinking of people, different people who came to our dances. That's what made it. Willow Lake, Lakeside, Lakewood, 83 Rollorama. I mean, we were down in all the areas, and kids were coming in from Philadelphia, Phillipsburg, Easton, Harrisburg, and the place would be that packed. I'll never forget the day at Willow Lake we were there, and it was jammed. I mean, I don't know how many people were there. We were up on the stage, and the floor when everybody danced back in those days. Yeah. They danced. Good dancing, too. The floor was going like, I mean it. It was going like that, and my dad said, tonight's the night it goes through. And it really felt that way while we were up on that stage. You guys were out there boogieing, and we're going, oh boy. But that in itself was a memory I'll never forget, because you guys were true to us. You were there, and the town here was for us. Very seldom did anybody say anything in a negative vein. It was always positive. So, from my heart, I can't thank you enough. And I know I speak with my brothers that you're awesome people, and Fractal is always in my mind. Through it all, I have, how many children do I have? I'm going to start out with Frankie, my oldest. I think he's about 44 or 45. 45. And then there he is, Frankie. I don't know if you want to come up. It's up to you. No, you don't. Most of them like to stay in the background, you know. And Ronnie, of course, he's the one that more or less tries to get out in the open, but he's into the sports field, you know. And I'm proud of them, both of them, as to what they do. Ronnie's right there. I'm 22. Yeah. Ron, I told that lie 50 years ago. It never worked. I'm proud of you. And my daughter Michelle, thank you so much for being here, hon. She's a cutie.
Oh, yeah.
Is she a sweetheart?
Oh, yeah.
Don't you just love her? Okay. And their wives and their husbands and everything. I love them very much. And I also met a beautiful gal and went down to the Berks County. Only a beautiful gal could have done that to me, because, you know, I am. And her name is Angela, and I love her very much, and she's here with me right now. She's the gal that was selling the t-shirts and over there with the CDs and everything. She's just an awesome person besides being a beautiful woman. And I thank you for all you've done. And with that, though, I have more children.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny how that works out? But I'm so proud of my two lovely daughters. If I may, I have a beautiful girl going to Messiah College right now, and her name is Alyssa. She's helping my wife sell. Is she over there? There she is, Alyssa. Put your hand up, hon. There you go. And her quiet, very calm, solemn type sister.
Oh, yeah.
Megan, put your hand up and just say hi. Megan's in high school right now. She's a junior. And looking forward to going to Messiah College. And I'd love to get all the grandchildren up here, but boy, you know what? That's gonna look at this. Mary's over there. Don't do it. Look at her watch. Don't do it. But they're all around here, and they're beautiful. Johnny, Dana, what's her name? Carissa. And we got Major, Avery. Who's that? They snuck one in on me. But they're wonderful people, and they're being raised the same way, by the bell. And I think that's what makes it all work. So, I thank my father and my mother for being that way and showing us the right way to be grown up. And I think without them, this would never be possible. So I thank them, and I thank you. I love you very much.
All right, I was asked by Mayor Phillips to acknowledge my brother Bob's family. He's got an oldest boy, Robbie, John, Tony, Angela. They're beautiful people. They all have very nice families, and I'm glad they're here. That's what it's all about. Thank you, Frackville. Thank you, people that attended Willow Lake, Lakeside, Rangers, 83 Rollorama. Thank you guys. God bless all of you.
Thank you, Joe, Frank, Lou. Next person we have is Max. Max is the author of the biography, The Rock's Fortunate Sons.
How you doing, Frackville? You know, I'm not from Schuylkill County, but I feel like I am. I spent a lot of time down here researching, you know, the Jordan Brothers and Schuylkill music, but I have a real affinity for Schuylkill County, and for those of you who may not realize it, you have a really awesome county here, a lot of things going, and just, you know, give yourselves a nice hand. I'm standing over there, and it's coming back to me why I wrote a book about the Jordan Brothers. I mean, listen to these guys. Exciting, dynamic, whether it's rehearsed or just spontaneous. Look at these guys. And they did it for decades and decades and decades. There was a Pennsylvania guy, Andy Warhol, that says that everybody gets 15 minutes. And I don't know if that's true, but if it is, I got my 15 minutes because of these guys. I wrote the book 24 years ago. I met my wife in 1986, 24 years ago. We're going to talk about, I have a PowerPoint presentation. I hope that you could stick around for that. There's a lot of data there, and you can relive the history and the excitement, the adventure of the Jordan brothers. But 1986, 24 years ago, it was the book. I'm just feel so gratified and satisfied that finally, after all these decades, the Jordan brothers, our musical heroes, are being acknowledged properly for their talents and their accomplishments. I'm so glad that this day has come, and there's been a lot of us who have talked about this and asked for it, and finally it's here. And I want to thank Paul, the committee, everybody who helped to put this together. And this is what it's all about, maybe just one person making a difference and making this thing happen. So thank you so much. And as was stated, I think that even now Angelo and Bobby are looking down on us, and they feel pretty proud about what's going on. So I want to say one thing. I don't want to take a whole lot of time because I think we have, like every other taxpayer in Frackville behind me that's going to make a speech. So I just want to say a couple of things and then get out of here. But I want to talk about how I first met the Jordan brothers. And I was working as a music critic, a rock critic. And I was working for some newspapers up in Wilkes-Barre and Berwick, Bloomsburg. And I had Kahuna Valley Press. That was another incarceration. I mean, I had a whole lot of things, as you did. I mean, I didn't shovel coal, but I did a lot of other things. But I had the greatest job in the world because I'd go around and interview rock bands, and I got paid for it. So I had free passes to the FM Kirby Theater and every single act. I could be there if I wanted to. But I'm going around and doing this, and I had heard about a band called the Jordan Brothers. And this was part of my Jordan Brother education, because it was never Jordan Brothers or the Jordans, it was the Jordan Brothers. And that signified something important, something significant. So that was the first part of my education. And the second thing was back in the 70s. It was the first time it was about time to go and see the Jordan Brothers and do an interview. So I drove down to Schuylkill Haven, and there was a place called The Alley. But no, you're wrong. It wasn't The Alley. It was The Alley, home of the Jordan Brothers. So I drive down there, and I got my card or whatever. I'm this hot, rock journalist, and so I can't wait. So the boys are playing, and I think you were still playing that LaGrange. I think. But anyway, it's possible, yeah. So anyway, so the other thing that was happening, I'm getting ready to go and during the intermission and shake hands with one of the Jordan brothers and introduce myself and all this. And I had been around the block. Let me say this. I had done this a lot of times. I had interviewed Hall & Oates and Wendy O. Williams and the Plasmatics and the doo-wop bands and on and on and on. I've done this. But when it came time to interview the Jordan brothers, they're standing in line 6, 7 deep. And I'm saying, wait a second. No, look, what's up with this? And so I have to wait like 15, 20 minutes to go, or whatever it was, to shake hands with one of the guys. But I had never before seen that kind of fan adulation with people coming to see their rock act. That was my part of the Jordan Brothers education. I couldn't believe that, and again, that sticks with me. The book was put out 24 years ago. It was 1986. I'm proud of that. I'm proud to be part of the, if anything, I think I'm one of those guys. I wasn't on stage with the Stratocaster, but what I did was I wrote about him. And the one thing that I did, I'm really proud of doing, is that I helped to ensure the legacy of the Jordan Brothers, because, damn, they were damn good and they deserved it. The Jordan Brothers.
Next up is the mayor, Mayor Kim Phillips. She will do the Jordan Brother Day proclamation.
I wanted to thank you all very much for coming here, and especially Paul, because I know Paul was really instrumental in making this day happen. He really put a lot of time and effort into it. And as far as the Jordan brothers are concerned, the thing I can say the most about the Jordan brothers is whenever you speak about them, it's amazing how everybody smiles.
All those kids over there are grandkids. Everyone.
I hear you beating, but her heart just ain't beating like you. Oh, heart, you gotta watch out now, or else she's gonna break in two. Oh, heart, you better believe me. Save yourself for somebody new. Don't make such a fuss. There's no hope for us. She don't care the way that you do. Oh, heart, please stop pounding. Don't say to yourself something that's wrong. Well, my temperature's rising and I feel at the floor. Crazy people knocking 'cause they want us some more. Let me in, baby, I don't know what you got, but you better take it easy. This place is hot and I'm so glad we made it. So glad we made it. Oh, won't you give me some loving? Give me some loving. Give me some loving every day. Good time, long time, daytime, nighttime. Good time, long time, daytime, nighttime. Good time, I had such a good time. My baby stayed a long time, but now she's gone away. I must stay, but I know I'll wait forever till we get together. Oh, a good time, long time, now last long time. Good time, every day the sunshine. It's got to last a long time. I've seen the last of you. I'm telling you, I'm not gonna let you get me. I know she won't forget me. Oh, good time, now I'm in between time. Lolly, 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 lolly. I told little Lolly to be a little fair. I can't be messing with any square. She don't like dancing or rock and roll. Oh, little Lolly, please hear my call. Oh, Lolly, oh, Lolly. If you can't get help, then I won't go steady with you. Lolly, 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 lolly. What's wrong with you, with you, baby. I always did what you wanted me to, for I believed you'd be ever so true. But now I find that I'm constantly blue, and it's hurting me more every day. What's wrong with you, baby? Must you always abuse me? If you don't stop it, you're going to lose me. And this I swear. What's wrong with you, baby? Oh, let me tell you about the one that got away now. Got to tell you about the one that got away now. Don't ask about the other love I had now. Don't ask about the one that left sad now. Let me tell you about the one that got away, got away, got away, got away, got away, got away, way. Listen to me and I'll tell you no lies now. She's the one who taught me how to cry now. She can tell what the one that got away now. Talk about the one that got away now. She's the queen and I'm just a jack now. She's the heartbreaker from her way back now. Told me that you had been around, but I turned my back. She really put me down, 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 down. Wait till 8, wait till 9. Say that girl better be on time. Wait till 10, wait till 11. Thought she said she'd be there by 7. Wait till 3, wait till 4. I knew that I couldn't wait much more. Hey, 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 hey. Let me tell you about the one that got away now. Send me, send me, send me, oh, send me, send me a picture, drop me a line. I'm really lonesome. Please find a time all through the day and all of the night. I keep on waiting for you, dear, to write. The postman went by, no picture today. Please mail it tomorrow, take this feeling away. Send me a picture, drop me a line. I'm really lonesome all of the time. Send me, send me, send me, oh, send me. I could dances with all your romances, and my heart starts to pound as the minutes roll away. I watch you dance to the love songs of the day and wonder if your love could ever come my way. And yet my heart feels as though it might break. I've gotta take that chance. I've just gotta take the chance that you might love me, even though I'm afraid to try. And my heart keeps on pounding as the minutes go by. Are you the kind of girl that a guy can only look and wonder why she's pretty, like a picture in a storybook? Love to make a fool of you. You do anything and what you do. Love to make you feel so good when it goes like you think it should. Or it can make you cry at night when your baby don't treat you right. When you're feeling sad and blue, well, you know love's made a fool of you. Show you just the places and then fulfill all of your wishes. Would you be yours forever if you will just be mine. I never dreamed my baby love would bring me grief and pain. I never dreamed my baby love would break my heart again. I've never been so lonely the way I'm lonely now. Never had the blues the way I've gotten now. I've never had a heartache that hurt me this way. Never till she said goodbye today. I never thought my baby had a heart made out of stone.
Every now and then I see her walking uptown. I know she knows I'm there, but her eyes keep looking down at the ground.
Oh, I feel like I could die. Oh, I feel like I could break down and cry.
The friends are telling me, they say she's found somebody new. They said he's good to her and she loves him more than you. Is it true?
Oh, I feel like I could die. I feel like I could break down and cry.
And though I feel this way, I go day after day, trying hard not to show them this hurt inside that I hide. Her friends are telling me, they say she's found somebody new. They said he's good to her and she loves him more than you. Is it true?
Please wait for me, for I shall return. My love for you will forever burn. Though we must part, there's no reason to cry. Just say so long, because lovers never say